What it is, what it was, what it could be, y'all. Welcome back to Disc Golf Justice. Today we're going over 3 things that I think separate pro disc golfers from amateurs. If you're new to the channel, first of all, please consider subscribing if you enjoy top-level disc golf content. But I actually help Gatekeeper broadcast the pro Australian disc golf events. So I get a front row seat at watching the pros in action all over the country when they're playing their best, when they're playing their worst. And at the time of recording this, here in Australia, the pros actually play the same exact tournaments on the same exact layouts as the amateurs. So I really get to see what they do better than what we do. Starting in at number 3, consistency. Pro disc golfers are very, very consistent. It's kind of hard to tell when you're watching these events because everyone just seems good. But watching these players attack the course, they don't make many unprovoked mistakes. They hit their lines consistently. They make their putts consistently. Every once in a while, they are going to make mistakes. But one thing I've noticed is that pro disc golfers don't do anything too much crazier than us amateurs. They just do the things that we know that we can do every single time. They're consistently doing it. They're not having that shank that goes OB. They're not having that grip lock. They're not having that crappy putt that sails past the basket, leaving them with the long comeback, but they're drilling that putt consistently. When I say they don't do things too much better than us, I'm not talking about necessarily the top tier, the Paul McBeth and that. I'm just saying your average pro disc golfer isn't doing things too much crazier than your intermediate player. They're just doing it every single time. The things you know you can do, they're doing it every single time. They're not messing it up. Where I think this really shows like 250 feet and in. Pros can get up and down from that range almost every single time without even batting an eye. Whereas amateurs, we can struggle. We can struggle. That's not a guaranteed birdie or a guaranteed par, whatever we're trying to do. Like, we gotta work for it. The second thing that pros are doing much better than us is their mental game. If you're anything like me, which you probably are, you really beat yourself up out there on the course. You have a bad putt, or you whiff a putt, or you have that shank because of a grip lock that goes OB, then you start beating yourself up, you lose confidence, and you start doubting yourself. Professional disc golfers know their abilities. They know even if they do make a mistake, they can recover like that. Like, they're gonna go out there and execute. For most amateur disc golfers, one bad shot can ruin an entire round. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say every pro disc golfer has their mental game mastered, you know, like they still struggle, but I've noticed they don't dwell over shots in the past as much as we do, or at least as much as I do. I guess in reality, I can only really speak for myself, but things that have happened previously in a pro's round don't seem to affect their whole round like it does for me. That being said, I feel like it goes both ways. When a pro's playing really, really well, you don't see them lose their minds either. Like, they keep their composure and they maintain that level-headedness through their entire round, really, which then brings them right back to number 1, keeping them consistent. And the number 1 thing that I think separates pro disc golfers from amateurs, you guessed it, putting. Again, I can really only speak for myself, but for me as an amateur, my putting tends to either be on or it's off, which I know that does happen to almost everyone. But pros are almost always on. They rarely have that off day where they miss everything, where they can't make a putt, they can't even find metal, you know? Let's just face it, most pros are hitting 80 to 90% of their C1 putts. I would say 40 to 60% C1 putting is pretty generous if you include all amateur disc golfers. And pros just have that confidence when they step up to a putt. Now, confidence is almost another thing you could add to this list, but there are some players that are complete trash that have all the confidence in the world. So I didn't want to add confidence quite to this list, but pro disc golfers, when they step up to a putt, when they step up to any shot really, they are confident that they can execute their shot. Whereas for myself, sometimes I can step up for a putt and it can be a 5-footer and I'm just shaking in my boots. But where I think that confidence for the pro disc golfers comes in terms of putting is just those reps. They are practicing their reps daily, getting in there, getting their routine down, doing the same routine every single time, and they're consistently, going back to number 1, hitting their putts. There you have it, guys. Those are the 3 things that I mainly think separate professional disc golfers from amateurs. What do you think about my list? Have you played around some professional disc golfers and did I miss anything? Feel free to drop it down in the comments and help us all out, because you never know, the next professional disc golfer could be browsing the comments trying to figure out what they need to do to take their game to the next level. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. If you want to see more, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.